Hello, and here we are with some Jeskai action. I'm going to keep this hand, even though we don't have access to a red source, unfortunately, with the way the mana base is constructed. Flooded Strand cannot get a red source of mana, but that's fine. We'll hope to draw one in a little bit. We don't need one right now. Our plan is to just play Soulfire Grandmaster on turn 2. And looks like our opponent might be playing maybe a Bant deck. Flooded Strand searching for Canopy Vista to start off, and then Den Protector. The Bant Company deck is pretty popular right now. So if I had to put our opponent on one deck, that would be it. But not sure still. Mantis Rider would be great if we can get it online for turn 3, but still missing that red source, so it looks like we'll just have to play Soulfire this turn. If we draw like something like Polluted Delta, that can fetch Smoldering Marsh. Unfortunately, the Flooded Strand cannot do that. And I think we just want to take the 2 here from the Den Protector. Soulfire can have a pretty high upside, especially if we draw burn spells or get the Fiery Impulse online. The nice thing about trading the Soulfire here, though, is it does help fuel the dig, and we have Ojutai's Command, so it's not like we're completely unwilling to trade it. And Sylvan Advocate is pretty annoying here. Also pretty annoying that we didn't draw the red source. Okay, well, not much we can do. I think this turn we are going to be forced to block the Den Protector. Not where we want to be, but don't really have a lot going on at the moment. Valor Stance also isn't particularly good against this deck. Like, if Sylvan Advocate becomes bigger, we can use the stance on the Advocate. But yeah, I think we have to offer the trade now. And I don't think we could make our guy indestructible with Valor Stance. I don't think it's worth it right now. We can rebuy it with Ojutai's Command. So we're just going to search up here, Prairie Stream. And yeah, take a draw step. Alright, well, sometimes you get there, sometimes you don't. We have not gotten there. Our opponent could have something like Collected Company here, which would be really bad for us. And it looks like that is actually what's going to happen. So, Warden and Nissa, that's pretty good against our hand. If we had drawn the red source on time, the turn 3 Mantis Rider likely would have won this game, I think. Fiery Impulse could have dealt with some of these smaller creatures, but as it is, I think our chances are very, very low to win. Yeah. Yeah, I think we're just dead. Let's just go on to the next game. Not one for waiting around to be killed. I'd rather just say, you know what? I'm dead at this game. Let's move on here. So we've got some sideboard options for this matchup. I don't think we want the Disdainful Strokes in our main deck because they counter Collected Company, potentially Wingmate Rock. That's not really enough. I actually think Dispel is better. So let's board in the Dispels. Roast is fine. I actually like Radiant Flames a reasonable amount. Sometimes this deck has like Eldrazi Sky Spawners. Let's try the Radiant Flames out. As I mentioned, Valor Stance doesn't seem that great in this matchup. Jeskai Charm also doesn't seem amazing. I kind of like the second PN Kieran. So if we take out Jeskai Charms, let's see what our deck looks like. We could board in another Roast. I kind of like this configuration. Let's try it out. Okay, we've got turn 2 Jace. Almost always in Standard I will keep a turn 2 Jace hand because there's so much upside. And if Jace actually gets going, which it's a pretty good chance it will, it gives us a lot of looting potential. Also have Mantis Rider, which we can hopefully play on turn 3. We'll see. Our deck has not really cooperated up till this point, but hopefully we'll find that third land. So our opponent could maybe play a Sylvan Advocate here or something like that. Yep, there it is. Just what we expected. The nice thing about Jace is we can help get spells in our graveyard to make Fiery Impulse a 3 damage burn spell. Alright. There's a land. It is a tap land, but it's still a land at least. So we have options in terms of what we want to discard. I think we can discard 1 Fiery Impulse here. Could also see arguments for Mantis Rider. Because we do have 2 of those. But let's pitch 1 Impulse here. Fortunately, still no white source. We're playing a 3-color deck, so our mana base is actually reasonable. We actually have a black source, which means we can Radiant Flames for 3, potentially. So that could be good. There's a Warden. Okay. And our opponent doesn't have a land, so we could Fire Impulse away the Warden, but we could also hold off and potentially wait for this Radiant Flames to be really good. So that was a good draw. We drew a white source, so we're cooking at this point. Actually, we have 2 white sources now. So, yeah, we can discard that. Battlefield Forge. And get a Plains. Mantis Rider is going to be really nice here. I think we want to play Mantis Rider. Yeah. I mean, we could try to set up Radiant Flames and get... Or we could get a little bit cute, or we can just go for the win, essentially. Just get in early damage. Mantis Rider stunts our opponent's attacks. If they do attack with Warden, we can block. And there's Mastery of the Unseen. That's going to be really slow. Not really worried about that card. So we could get Jace flipped this turn by just Fiery Impulsing the Warden and then flipping Jace. That seems good. We can also... Yeah, I like that. We may not need the Radiant Flames after all. Prairie Stream. Yeah, I think we can just discard the Radiant Flames at this point. We can also flash it back if we need it. And we can just play our second copy of Mantis Rider. Pretty happy we held on to it, as I think this game's pretty much over. 2 pretty lopsided games. Okay. Yep, our opponent just conceded, so hopefully game 3 will be a little bit more exciting. I think that sideboard plan was pretty good. But the problem is we are going to be on the draw, so we're more vulnerable to some of the stuff our opponent can do, and our Planeswalkers are a little less potent. But let's try this. Alright, so we have a Dispel in our hand. We want to keep this. Dispel's potentially good against Dromoka's command and Collected Company, but we are going to need to set it up correctly. And there is Warden. That's pretty scary on turn 1. All we can do is play a tap land here. Our curve is reasonable, but we are on the draw. Our opponent may just go for the level here. Nope. Even better for them, Sylvan Advocate. Okay. So I think we want to just get this Soulfire into play. It doesn't do a whole lot, unfortunately, against this board because we can't profitably block the Warden or the Advocate, and we can't attack through the Advocate. But if we draw something like Roast or some sort of burn spell, the lifelink from that burn spell could be pretty important in this game. Our opponent also has access to like Dromoka's command, so we don't really know exactly what the play is going to be. Could be a command right here. That is what's going to happen. And unfortunately, the Dispel, we were not able to set up for the command that turn. Okay. So we're behind right now. We can fetch for planes here. Play Mantis Rider, but we're pretty much all in on the Mantis Rider plan, and we're not ahead in this race at the moment. Like, if our opponent plays something like Reflector Mage, we're pretty screwed. We have 3 copies of the same creature. And now we have the option of trading potentially the Mantis Rider for the Warden. And I think we probably have to, even though it doesn't seem great, but we're taking too much damage if we just take 6 this turn. Alright, so we drew a Jace. So our opponent bricked on lands. I think we just want to play Mantis Rider and play the tap land and hope our opponent bricks again. Yeah, I mean, it's tough because we want to hold up the spell, but we don't know what exactly is in our opponent's hand, and playing this Wandering tap land is going to help set us up way better for next turn. So we're just kind of hoping to dodge a big whammy here. Willing to take the damage from the Sylvan Advocate. And then hopefully... Okay, our opponent actually did nothing. So that is very good news. So, and we also drew Gideon, which may change our line of play. So we could just play Gideon this turn. But let's start by attacking with the Mantis Rider. Alright, it looks like our opponent has a Bounding Krasis. Okay. That's pretty annoying. Huh. Alright. So, tapping our Mantis Rider and getting a 3/3 into play. I think we still want to run out our Gideon this turn. And just zero it, make a 2/2 for chump blocks. It's a pretty close game. This turn we do have the spell up, so we're actually hoping our opponent plays an instant like Dromoka's Command or Collected Company, rather than something like Reflector Mage, which would be kind of a blowout. Another Krasis would be annoying. There's a lot of different lines here, but if our opponent just attacks, we're very likely to just want to block one of these creatures with our Knight token. Doesn't really matter too much which one we block. And it looks like our opponent's thinking whether to attack Gideon or just go straight to us, because we are at 9. And it's kind of a close decision. So it looks like Gideon's going to just drop to 1. Alright. So, could have been worse. So, an interesting spot here for sure. We can just play our Mantis Rider, which I definitely want to do. Play Mantis Rider. And then now we can go ahead and plus Gideon. So, yeah, let's go ahead and plus it, make it a 5/5, and we can just kind of turn the tables at this point and go on the offensive. So now we're representing lethal, so our opponent has to chump the Gideon, which puts us in a great position. We don't have anything we can flash back with Jace right now, but just having Jace as a threat is pretty sweet. Not sure our opponent's going to be able to get out of this one, but we'll see. I'd be pretty surprised. So it looks like our opponent's just attacking Gideon with both. I think we're fine with just letting Gideon die, actually. So, no blocks. Our Mantis Riders are threatening lethal. And, okay, so Reflector Mage is going to potentially stop us from winning this turn. So that's pretty annoying. We can flip our Jace. So let's do that right away. We drew a Soulfire Grandmaster. Okay. Do we want this land? The land... No, I don't think we need it. So... yeah, let's just go ahead and get in there with our Mantis Rider. We don't have anything we can flash back, and we cannot play this Mantis Rider right now. What we can do is play a Soulfire Grandmaster, so let's deploy the Soulfire. And we're going to plus Jace on one of our opponent's creatures. Let's go with the Sylvan Advocate. So I think our board's still really good. Our opponent's at 2 and needs like another Reflector Mage just to stay alive. So yeah, got this one done.